Good morning, everybody. My name's Jeremy Lisitsa, and I am Director of Innovation and Volunteer Engagement for the Jewish Federation. With me today is Helene Davis, our Chair of People of the Book. Thank you very much, Helene, for everything. It's going to be a great season. And we have the incomparable Ted Epstein, who not only is the publisher of Jewish News, but he is People of the Book coordinator for us. He has run People of the Book in Naples for, I think it was 7 years prior to helping us out here. And he is an unbelievable resource for us. So a little background. In May, the three of us, Helene, Ted, and myself, attended a virtual conference for the Jewish Book Council. 275 authors did a 2-minute pitch. And after each segment, Helene, Ted, and I would then meet up and pick our favorites. And after that 3-day event, we narrowed it down to 50 authors. Of those 50 authors, we looked at their genre, the type of book, and the content, because we wanted to bring you the widest range of authors. Along with Federation staff, we chose the top 21 authors. And it's going to be a very, very exciting season. What I want to do right now is we've got Trudy, who is going to be screen sharing a PowerPoint. I will let you know one thing, there will be a Q&A afterwards for any questions you have, so please stay muted, and we will go live after that. Okay. So Trudy, if you go down to sponsor benefits. Okay. One thing that we're very fortunate about with Federation is we have incredible constituents that help support the programs. We are bringing 11 authors in live here, and I would ask you if you would consider sponsorship as a way to continue this program and bringing this incredible talent to Sarasota and our Jewish community. For anybody that is interested in sponsoring, you can do it online, but I would also ask you to reach out to me personally. I can answer any questions for you. The benefits, of course, are we're having 10 live events, which will also be live streamed out. Sponsors get VIP seating. If in fact we're able to do a wine and cheese or some sort of reception, you will be invited to that. And you will also get all the other 10 Zoom events sent to you. So what I'm gonna do now is we've got some other special page turner passes. We've got a VIP, and to explain that, I'm going to hand it over to Helene to explain the VIP. Then Ted will take over about the regular VIP page turner pass and individual tickets. So Helene.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm going to talk this morning about the VIP page turner pass. And this is the category that I am by far most passionate and excited about. You will receive 2 tickets to each of the 10 live events with guaranteed seating. Now remember that, once we reach capacity, there will be no more availability. So this is an important element. As well, you have the opportunity to have the whole household watch the other 10 events via Zoom. This is by far the best value. It is $360, but the value is $502. We all love a bargain. Please consider this option.
And then we also have the page turner pass. If you're not comfortable coming out and sitting in a sanctuary with other people, you can watch all 20 events. The 10 that are going to be in person, also Zoomed, and the ones that are only on Zoom, they're going to be $10 each, but you can have buy page turner pass, and it'll be $154 per household for all 20 events on Zoom. And we have a special offer until next week through September 26th, an early bird offer of $136 for all 20 events on Zoom. You can also personalize your experience and choose individual events, which Jeremy, Helene, and I are going to talk about now. So next slide. Just so you know, we made it easy. Okay, so you can see all ticket information, event information, details on the authors, book information at the website jfedsrq.org/books. Also in your October Jewish News newspaper, which will be mailed at the end of this week, there will be a special 16-page insert covering all the information on all the authors, all the sponsor information, all the ticket price information, and a listing of all the books. Also, to make it easy, all events, all 20 events, whether they're on Zoom or in person, will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Next slide, please. We have, do you want to talk about the sponsors, Jeremy?
Right now, I can't wait to sign up a bunch of you as sponsors, but we are lucky enough to have our Torch sponsors who help continue all programming for Federation. You can see their names up here. Very important. Federation campus, as you all know, is under construction. I reached out to our local temples. They all were more than happy to partner with us on all of the 10 events that will be coming to our community. Once again, it's amazing how our Jewish community is growing and working together for the benefit of all of us. And we'll talk about the events as we start with the authors individually and where they're going to be, where the event will be held. Next slide. Next slide.
Okay, so the 10 in-person events all begin at 7 p.m. as I mentioned. Come out and support the authors who will be traveling literally thousands of miles to meet you. Safety protocols will be determined by each venue in consultation with the Federation. Ticket holders will receive an email a few days before each event with the safety and health procedures that will be put in place for those events. While the 10 in-person events are also available for you to view on Zoom, there are several advantages to attend the events as part of the live audience. And some of those benefits are: only those in attendance at the event will be able to ask the author questions during the live Q&A. You can purchase the books at the event and get them signed and dedicated by the author. You can have your photo taken with the author. Authors definitely want to see your smiling faces and hear your laughter. It's a whole new universe on Zoom. You get to schmooze with your friends and colleagues, and once again, experience the joy and energy of being at a live event. Now on to the events. So we open up with a really special event. This takes place again at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 12th at Temple Beth Israel on Longboat Key. We have Joshua J. and his book, How Magicians Think. Tickets to the event in person are $18 in advance, $25 at the door, and $10 per household on Zoom. This book is not a how-to book, nor how do they do it expose. Written as a series of short, lively essays, How Magicians Think describes the magic of the making of illusions, the psychology behind them, and the characters who create them. Joshua writes about how technology influences the world of magic, his contemporaries, and how magicians hone their craft. He has performed on stages in more than 100 countries. He is a headliner at Hollywood's Magic Castle and a former world champion in sleight of hand. He has performed on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, The Late Show with James Corden, and he fooled Penn and Teller on their hit show, Fool Us, and he starred in his own off-Broadway magic show, Six Impossible Things. And to top things off, Joshua will begin the event with a 30-minute magic show. Hope to see you there.
The next book that we're going to be highlighting is by Jake Cohen, and it's called Jew-ish, a cookbook. It's reinvented recipes from a modern mensch is how Jake Cohen describes his book. Jake is a new star in the food world. As Jake reconciles ancient traditions with modern times, his recipes become a celebration of a rich and vibrant history, a story of blending cultures, and an invitation to gather around the table to create new memories with family, friends, and loved ones. Needless to say, you are in for a treat. And this is Tuesday, October 26th at Temple Emmanuel.
Fantastic. And I just want to mention one thing about Jay Cohen. Our own Judy Gallagher will be emceeing the evening with Jake, which is very exciting. So now moving on to Tracy Walder. She is a former staff operations officer at the CIA's Counterterrorism Center and special agent at the FBI's Los Angeles field office, specializing in Chinese counterintelligence operations. Recruited by the CIA out of her sorority at the University of Southern California on 9/11, she was tracking terrorists with President George W. Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney, and Secretary of State Colin Powell, looking over her shoulder. Walder debriefed al-Qaeda's top men, jihadists, who swore they'd never speak to a woman, particularly an American woman, and earned their trust, thus gaining critical and life-saving information. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. That is back. I'm sorry, I didn't say when. And Thursday, December 16th, Temple Sinai. Thank you.
Next, we have Ira Rosen, and his book is called Ticking Clock, Behind the Scenes in 60 Minutes. We all know Ira Rosen. For nearly 25 years, he has produced some of the most memorable, important, and groundbreaking stories for 60 Minutes. He is a two-time Peabody Award-winning writer and producer, and he reveals in his book the intimate, untold stories of the decades at America's most iconic news show. It's a 60-minute story on 60 Minutes, particularly behind the scenes. And this is going to be Thursday, January 6th at Temple Beth Shalom.
And just 5 days later is the event that I think will get sold out fairly quickly based on my experience when we had these guys in Naples. On Tuesday, January 11th at Temple Manuel, we welcome Dave Barry and Alan Zweibel. Dave has been a professional humorist ever since he discovered that professional humor was a lot easier than working. I took this from his website. For many years, he wrote a newspaper column that appeared in more than 500 newspapers. He has written more than 30 books and collaborated with Alan Zweibel on several of them. Alan started his comedy career selling jokes for $7 a piece to the last of the Borscht Belt stand-ups. Then one night, despite bombing on stage, he caught the attention of Lorne Michaels and became one of the first writers at Saturday Night Live, where he penned classic material for Gilda Radner, John Belushi, and others. He went on to have a hand in a series of landmark shows, from It's Gary Shandling's Show to Curb Your Enthusiasm. And in his book, Laugh Lines, which will be featured, he weaves together the stories of his influential career. Dave and Alan will talk about their careers, collaborations, books, shows, and projects. Be prepared to laugh throughout their hour-long presentation, plus an engaging Q&A. Just personally, I had the pleasure of bringing them to speak to a sold-out audience of 475 people at the Hilton Naples 2 years ago. And I've coordinated more than 100 author events, and this was the funniest of them all. So please be sure to be there.
Okay, Eddie Shapiro, author of A Wonderful Guy, Conversations with the Great Men of Musical Theater. Theater journalist Eddie Shapiro sits down for an intimate, career-encompassing conversations with 19 of Broadway's most prolific and fascinating leading men. Full of detailed stories and performers' reflections, Eddie grew up singing music from every cast album he could get his hands on. He's also the author of Nothing Like a Dame, Conversations with Great Women of the Musical Theater. That is going to be Tuesday, February 8th at Temple Emmanuel, $18 in advance or $25 at the door, $10 for household via Zoom. Next slide.
And for our only event, which is on Saturday night, so make it Saturday night date night, is on February 19th at Temple Sinai. We bring Laraine Newman. Lorraine's memoir chronicles her life and experiences that seem to have been on the forefront of every pop culture shift in America, from the British invasion and the music scene in LA to the beginning of the Comedy Store and how it started, the prominence of comedy, the beginning of Saturday Night Live, to the beginning of the rising prominence of animation. All this while dealing with her demons, getting sober, having children, and reinventing herself. She's an original cast member of Saturday Night Live. She's worked for several major film directors and has written for numerous publications. Just like the Alan Zweibel, Dave Barry event, this event, if possible, will also include a wine and cheese reception. And that's why the cost is a little bit more than the other events. Instead of 18, it's 25 in advance and 30 at the door. Next slide. Oh, by the way, and Lorraine's book is only, for some reason, available on Audible. She did not want a printed copy of her book, so you have to listen to her talk about the book. But come out and hear her in person.
Our next author is Annelise Heinz. She has written a book called Mahjong, a Chinese game and the making of modern American culture. Many of us know 1 dot, 2 bam, etc. Annelise Heinz, an assistant professor of history at the University of Oregon, narrates the history of this game to show how it has created a variety of meanings among American modernity, Chinese American heritage, and Jewish American women's culture. As it traveled from China to the United States, it caught on with high society, middle-class housewives, and immigrants alike, and became a quintessentially American game. Learn the history of the game many of us know and love. And this is going to be Thursday, March 24th at Temple Sinai.
Okay, Wayne Federman, author of The History of Stand-Up, chronicles an incredible evolution of this American art form. From its earliest pre-vaudeville practitioners like Artemis Ward and Mark Twain, to the present-day comedians of HBO and Netflix. Wayne is a stand-up comedian, actor, professor, and author. He has appeared on The Tonight Show and has his own special on Comedy Central. He's acted in numerous films and TV shows, including Curb Your Enthusiasm, Silicon Valley, Legally Blonde, Knocked Up, 50 First Dates, and Funny People. This event includes a stand-up comedy routine by Wayne. It'll be Wednesday, April 6th at the Jewish Congregation of Venice. $18 in advance, $25 at the door, or get a sponsorship and don't worry about any of those other prices. Next slide, please.
And then closing out the 20 event People of the Book series will be a live event with Dr. Michael Roizen at Temple Emmanuel on Tuesday, May 3rd. As more people are living to 100 years and beyond, New York Times bestselling author Michael Roizen explains how to prepare for a longer, healthier future. Over the next decade, people living at this to 100, 120, or even 130 years old will become increasingly common. In this groundbreaking narrative, Roizen reveals how current science and technology will revolutionize our ability to live longer, younger, and better. Today's breakthroughs in longevity research are unprecedented, and this book will help you navigate the coming changes to make the best decisions for your brain, body, and mind. Dr. Roizen is a chief wellness officer at the Cleveland Clinic, chief medical consultant on the Dr. Oz Show, and author of 4 #1 New York Times best-selling books. Had the pleasure of having him and Jean Chatzky, a financial advisor who co-wrote a book a couple of years ago in Naples. And after their presentation, the Q&A could have gone on for hours. About 80% of the questions were for Dr. Roizen. He's an expert, he's pleasant to listen to, and you'll learn a lot from him. So that takes care of our live events. And then on a personal note, as Jeremy said, I've been doing this for many years. I've created about 65 events in Naples, several Jewish book festivals, and this is the best in-person lineup I've ever had the pleasure of helping to coordinate. Every event is a great event. You don't have to read the books, you don't have to buy the books, just attend the events and learn, be engaged, entertained, and educated by these fascinating authors with so many different topics. Now on to the Zoom-only events. Again, all events begin at 7 p.m. in the comfort of your home. They're $10 each per household. And we started off on Tuesday, October 19th with Steve Letter, The Beauty of What Remains. Steve Letter is a senior rabbi of Wilshire Boulevard Temple in Los Angeles, one of the largest synagogues in the world. He has learned the many ways that death teaches us how to live and love more deeply by showing us not only what is gone, but also the beauty of what remains. Yet even after having sat beside thousands of deathbeds, Steve Letter, the rabbi, was not fully prepared for the loss of his own father. It was only then that Steve Letter, the son, truly learned how loss makes life beautiful by giving it meaning and touching us with love that we had not felt before. Enriched by his vulnerability and sense of humor, this heartfelt narrative is filled with laughter and tears and an unfolding of the profound and simple truth that in loss we gain more than we ever imagined. Next slide.
The next book that we're about to mention is X-Troop by Leah Garrett, The Secret Jewish Commandos of World War II. And I must tell you that after reading this book, I learned so much and had so much more insight into what was happening. June 1942, picture this. a new commando unit made up of Jewish refugees who have escaped to Britain. They are a motley group of intellectuals, artists, and athletes, most from Germany and Austria. Trained in counterintelligence and advanced combat, this top secret unit becomes known as the X Troop. Based on immense amounts of research and interviews with surviving members, X Troop tells the astonishing story of these secret shock troops and their devastating blows against the Nazis. It really is a must read. And this will be Wednesday, November 3rd on Zoom. The next book that we're about to discuss is the David Biro book, The Magnificent Dappled Sea. And I was the one who really pushed for this book. I had read this book quite some time ago, and it was the type of book that just continually resonated with me. It's an incredible story that takes place in America and Italy. Can inheritance be transcended by acts of love? This is the question at the heart of this Magnificent Dappled Sea. This is a novel that challenges identity and celebrates the ties that bind us together. It is exceptionally well-written book, and I'm sure it will be very memorable to you after you have finished it. And this takes place on Monday, November 22nd at 7 on Zoom.
Okay, as Helene said, we all have our favorites, and I didn't bring that up earlier. Tracy Walder was one that I said we had to bring in again. Ben M. Freeman, author of Jewish Pride, was one that I thought is so important at this time for the community. Rebuilding a People, an internationally renowned educator inspired by his experiences with the LGBTQ plus pride. In it, Ben aims to educate, inspire, and empower Jewish people to reject the shame of anti-Semitism imposed on Jews by the non-Jewish world, as well as non-Jewish perceptions of what it means to be a Jew. Ultimately, enabling them to begin the process of defining their own identities as proud Jews through Jewish experience, Jewish history, and Jewish tradition. He was an amazing speaker. Wednesday, December 8th, it's 7 p.m. at Zoom. Next slide. Okay, here's another one of the pick. Those that you know me know I love historical novels. This was fascinating, and Darcy Ellis, author of The Secret Diaries of Jean-Louis Vives, brings to life the epic-making life and adventures of one of the great men of the Renaissance. It is, 1522 in the Spanish Netherlands. Vives, a renowned academic, has fled the Inquisition, yet even here he's not safe. Under the watchful eyes and ears of the King of Spain, he's eventually incarcerated along with other Nouveau Christianos. When England's Sir Thomas More offers him a lifeline as the role of tutor to Mary, daughter of Catherine of Aragon and Henry VIII, he eagerly accepts. Once in England, Vives is quickly drawn into secretive and dangerous world of London's underground Jewish community. That is Tuesday, December 21st on Zoom at 7 p.m. Next slide.
And on Wednesday, January 5th, we have James McAuley and the House of Fragile Things, Jewish Art Collectors and the Fall of France. In the dramatic years between 1870 and the end of World War II, a number of prominent French Jews invested their fortunes in France's cultural artifacts, sacrificed their sons to the country's army, and were ultimately rewarded by seeing their collections plundered and their families deported to concentration camps. In this book, James explores the central role of art in the assimilation identity of French Jews. He shows how Jewish art collectors can
What happened?
Trudy, Helene, if you could go forward to, we're going to go to Rachel Beanland.
Okay,
There we go.
Okay, I have read the following 3 books, and I must tell you that I highly recommend them. The next book we're going to discuss is the Rachel Beanland book, Florence Adler Swims Forever. It's a bit of a quirky book, but it was something that really fascinated me. Many of us have fond memories of Atlantic City. This story takes place in Atlantic City in 1934. Tragedy strikes early in the story, and essentially it is this tale of family dynamics, love, and betrayals. This book really makes you think about family and what is right and wrong. Again, highly recommended. This is Thursday, February 17th on Zoom. The next book is by Melissa Gould, and I was fascinated with her when we heard her presentation. This book really resonated with me. I came to Florida 8 years ago as a recent widow. Melissa Gould's book tells of the unexpected death of her young husband. As life resumed for her, she realized she didn't look like a widow or act like a widow, but she was one. She called herself widowish. For those of us who have walked in her shoes, there is a lot to learn from this book. This is Tuesday, March 22nd on Zoom. Our last book, but certainly not least, is Eternal by Lisa Scottoline. I had the pleasure of hearing Lisa Scottoline speak a number of years ago in Baltimore, and she is a wonderful speaker. This is a new departure for her because she is doing historical fiction for perhaps the first time. She says that it's really a culmination of a lifetime of her work. This story takes place in Italy during the Italian Holocaust. It revolves around 3 childhood friends. It is truly the heartbreaking story of both the best and the worst that the world has to offer. As I said, I read this book early on. I must say this is one of my favorite all-time reads. I think when you read it, you will agree. And this is Wednesday, April 20th on Zoom.
Okay, and unfortunately what happened, Ted, his computer rebooted, so we lost him. The one author we didn't discuss was Pam Jenoff, the woman with the blue star. All I can tell you—
Jeremy, I read this book. So yes, I read this book. So forgive me if I speak extemporaneously, not with notes, but this is really a fascinating story. Again, another part of the Holocaust that perhaps we were just never aware of. It revolves around essentially 2 characters. One woman who was hidden in a sewer to save herself from the Germans, and another woman who is not Jewish, who is above ground. And somehow, some way, they develop a friendship. And the book actually talks about how these 2 women came to care so much for one another and really helped one another survive. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful book.
Thank you, Helene.
And this is Wednesday, February 2nd, again on Zoom.
And I will tell you, Kim Adler, who is the COO of the Jewish Federation, that was her book. We didn't have a choice in bringing the author. So Trudy, if you could please stop sharing the PowerPoint. Helene and I are here to answer any questions that I can. Feel free to unmute yourselves and we'll take it one at a time. Sherry, your dog is so cute. Looks just like my Mordecai. Raise your hand if you've got a question and unmute yourself. No questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Naomi.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi, I'm confused. I did People of the Book last year, but we only did books. Is this an addition of all the
Last year was only via Zoom due to COVID. No authors were traveling. This year we have authors traveling, so we're able to bring getting back to normal, or the new normal, where we get to actually be in an audience together, socially distant, wearing masks, and meeting the authors. Again, VIP seating for sponsors up in front. We are all going to be spaced out. You can still sponsor and not come in person. It's perfectly okay. But thank you, Naomi. And Susan Niederman.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. My question is, if we're going to do any of the sponsorships or anything like that, do we just write out a check and send it right into you, or?
Absolutely. Susan, I'd love you to call me. I did put my number in the chat. I am
Okay.
also going to email everybody that's here with my number, and you could
Great.
call me directly today, tomorrow, and I will take care of it.
Okay, because if I want to take advantage of it, I'll be sending it from New Hampshire because we're not in Florida yet, so.
Of course, we take out of state checks.
And I have regards for you from my friend Pat Kalick from the New Hampshire Jewish Film Festival.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Susan. And Shari.
Jeremy, my electricity went out
Okay.
right after the two comedians were on.
Okay.
So I just now came on. Is there going to be something in writing or a pamphlet or something that I can go through?
We have, by the way, so in the October Jewish News, which is you're going to get this week, is a 16-page insert about all the authors and all the events. I'm also going to send out the link if you're interested in more information and to purchase tickets. It's all online. So yes, and we also are recording this for anybody that missed it that wants to hear from us personally.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Or we could show up at your house tonight and do the same thing.
Oh, perfect.
Jeremy, and everything is in the chat as well. So if people want to just copy it right out of the chat.
Great. Thank you, Trudy. Anybody else have a question? No? My God, Ronnie, no questions. That's the first time I've seen that.
Do have a question, but
Okay.
I figured the answer is yes, but I can't attend. If I wanted to buy the in-person, the page turner pass, but I can't attend every one of the live events. Are the tickets transferable?
Yes.
Good question.
Yes.
And you can also get the recording, right, Jeremy?
Yes. If you can't attend in person, it's going to be via live stream. And also you can assign your tickets to another person.
Okay, but live stream, I could then see it. But wait a minute, it's going to be recorded and then I can go to the website.
No, it's going to be, what's going to happen is all events as it's happening live will be streamed out.
No, I understand, but like some Thursday nights, I have rehearsals for the chorale. I can't go, and I noticed that 2 of the events are Thursday nights. Would I be able to see it later, is my point, the live event?
We're in discussions with authors. They always don't like it to be recorded. So, but we will try very hard to get allowed to record it, to share it with people who have purchased the ticket.
Right, for the ticket holders.
Anybody else?
I see a few questions in chat, Jeremy.
Okay.
Laura Briefman has a question. She said, if we buy the Zoom pass, can we still attend a couple of the in-person events? How much would they be? And obviously the answer is yes, depending upon space. I mean, I think you have to be aware of that we are going to be limiting the number of people because of the COVID crisis. So our first priority will be to our sponsors and to our VIP pass holders. And after that, if we have tickets, yes, you are more than welcome to purchase tickets for, individual events. And the price will range from what, about 18 to 25, Jeremy?
Correct. And Helen, did you have a question?
Yes, is there any early bird thing like you did last year?
Well, that is the 20 via Zoom. You can purchase for this from now for $136. And after September 26th, it goes up to $154. It is a $200 value.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And any other questions? And I don't, Helene, do you see any others in the chat?
No, I do not. I'm reading them right now. I don't
Great.
generally.
Thank you. And anybody else have a question? Naomi, did you have another question? You're muted. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Naomi, you're muted. You need to unmute Naomi.
Yeah.
Unmute. Okay, what does a VIP pass get you?
The VIP pass, excuse me, you get 2 tickets to all 10 live events, and you get live stream to all the Zoom events. So you see all 20 events, but you do get 2 tickets to the live events. And it's a $502 value for $360.
And Jeremy, might I add that if you can't attend all of the 10 live events, you are certainly welcome to Zoom those events.
Absolutely.
You'll have an opportunity to see all 20 events, regardless of whether you can attend or cannot attend.
Yes, thank you. So it looks like I'm looking, I don't see any more hands up. Anybody have a question? Unmute, or we're going to close out today. And I want to thank everybody for taking time and being with us to hear about the upcoming 2021-22 season of People of the Book. It is, as we've said, very exciting. The authors are wide-ranging, and they are the best of the best that we're bringing to you. So thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful day. And I'll see you on, oh my God, in less than a month.
October 12th.
October 12th at Temple Beth Israel for our first one, The Magic Show with Joshua J. So everybody have a great day.
Thank you for all your hard work.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Helene, Jeremy,
Thank
Trudy.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Our
Thanks, Patty.
pleasure. It is our